Hey there, and welcome to the UkeStuff channel, and welcome to this review under the UkeGuide format of the Aklot Concert Bamboo Ukulele. Now, just so you know, historically, I bought one of these last year. This is the tenor version of it, and I liked it a lot, and I like it even more. It's opened up a little bit, I think, since I bought it. It has different strings. And a couple of the things that bothered me, they addressed. So, for example, they used to have this design by Aklot on it. They don't put that on the new stock anymore, tenor or concert, and they even have a cutaway of this. So it still is that really attractive, renewable instrument. Again, bamboo grows so quickly that it becomes really a viable option. Although you still do have to glue it together in strips, you are dealing with solid bamboo. And as I was reminded by Barry Maz of Got a Ukulele, certainly Aklot is not the first company to use bamboo. There have been others. However, Kala this last year came out with a set of models that look amazingly familiar or similar to this. And I did ask Aklot if perhaps they were made in the same company or the same warehouse in China, because these are an import, and their answer was no. So what that tells you is that there's another company copying these pretty much completely. So you get a fully bamboo instrument, with the exception, of course, of strings, strap buttons, tuners, and the nut and saddle. So otherwise, it's a smaller size, and that was my other wish, is that I'm a concert player most of the time. For some reason, concert just works well for me. And I was wishing that there could be a concert version of this instrument, and here it is, which is really quite wonderful. So what we're going to do in this rather long-winded review, and I don't apologize for that, because you can skip ahead following the chapters of the video. They should actually appear as you scroll through to parts of the review that matter to you. Some people are going to want to see different things, and that's great. And if you want to see just a little bit about the instrument, you can always go to the 1-minute ukulele review that I've filmed with these as well. So what we'll do is we'll look at subjective issues, kind of opinion issues, then we'll look at objective data for the instrument, and then back to a subjective summary of their instrument. So let's begin. So let's get on with the issue of price first. So normally these sell for $80 on Amazon and $70 on eBay, and that's generally where you're going to buy these, as well as other Aklot products. Well, I looked today, and these are currently selling for $63 for the same thing that I spent more than that to get. And again, this model was not sent to me for review. I bought it myself because I liked the tenor so much. So that's a really good value, and let's talk about that value. Not only do you get really a pretty well-made ukulele, an attractive ukulele, a renewable resource ukulele, not only do you get that, and that would be worth that $63 to $80 all by itself, you also get an incredible gig bag. A gig bag that other companies would charge you $30 to $50 for. And I mean, it is one of the best in the business. There are better, but there are not many that are better. And so that's always nice to see. And that's been one of Aklot's latest things with these instruments. You get a tuner, which is spot on. What do people need? You know, that hits it right in the sweet spot. You get a strap with the slots on the sides for the 2 strap buttons. So you get strap buttons. And the only oddity in the kit that you get is a set of picks. Again, I don't get it. I don't get why a company that gets the rest of the ukulele and what are the things that an ukulele player really needs, why they include picks, I don't know. I don't know what it takes to change that part of the industry of these particular imports. And it makes me so grateful for the companies that don't include picks. If you're going to include a pick, make it leather, make it felt. All that said together, that's an incredible bargain. All those things together for $63 to $80, plus a really nice ukulele. Yeah, the value is way off the charts on this one. The build quality overall is really good. There are only 2 things that I can see that are kind of goofy about it. The first is this. When I was unboxing it, there's a rattle inside, and I thought it was a packet of silica gel to keep it from, being overly humid when it was being shipped. Well, no, it actually is the Concert Bamboo label. Fell right out, and it turns out that this one was originally mislabeled as a tenor. So they just stuck another bamboo label on top of it, which you can see the glue residue on the back of it, but it didn't hold. So it's kind of weird in that regard, and I'm trying to see if I can somehow remove the tenor one altogether or just have nothing in there, whatever. The other oddity that I noticed is that there is a strange pattern in the neck, and I don't know if I'm going to pick it up in the light, where it's like it's spliced weird. There's a couple joints in the neck going up, and I mean, obviously you're dealing with strips of bamboo, but one of the things that we talk about with ukulele is that we want the joint to be above the nut, and then of course another joint on the heel, but where it's not going to interrupt the flow of vibration in the neck. And it was like that also with my tenor as well. I don't think it's a fatal flaw. I'm not really bothered by it, but it was like, oh, that's interesting. I did not expect that. But otherwise, the build quality is really good. If I'm nitpicking about whether or not there's a joint somewhere in the neck of an instrument that strips of bamboo anyway, and then I'm worrying about a label falling out, that's really small potatoes in the big scheme of things. However, it is worth looking to see what's happening on the inside of the ukulele. So let's do the internal Uke Cam so you can see what it looks like inside there. Look inside the Aklot Concert Bamboo Ukulele. Now just looking down, you can see the first fan brace. There's 3 here on the soundboard, so there's one. Then of course you have the bridge plate and a second brace right down the center, and then also the third brace going down the side. You can see the tail block, and if I get a little closer, you can see a little bit of glue seepage here and there, and you can see that finish of that bamboo is all the way through. It's solid bamboo, even though it's strips of bamboo glued together. Let's take a look at the top of the ukulele. All right, let's take a look at the front here. There's the neck block, and there's the sides. You can see the bamboo pattern all the way through. Pretty clean on this side, less glue over here as a whole. The one thing that, there's some right there in that corner. You can see some neck glue, or some glue, but here's the part that kind of surprises me. There's that block that comes out underneath the neck support. It's about the thickness of the kerfing, and it's underneath the front brace here, because there's 2 cross braces, one here and one underneath the sound hole, but there's that extra piece in there that I'm not quite sure what that is. I haven't seen that before. So that's the inside of the Aklot Bamboo Concert, and I can't show you the logo because the old logo, this was actually marked as the tenor, and they put another sticker on top, or another layer of bamboo on top, which fell out when I was unboxing this. So that's the Aklot Bamboo Ukulele. Okay, welcome back, and as I said, no real concerns here. Now how about appearance? Well, this one is very plain, isn't it? I mean, you have the bamboo fretboard, you have the bamboo body, you have the bamboo headstock. It's all bamboo, but it's gorgeous at the same time. It's really fun to look at. It's really eye-catching. So, you know, even though it's very, very plain in design, there's no binding, there's no purfling, there's no rosette, there's nothing else fancy about it. The wood itself is stunning. Now, the only gripe I have, again, about this ukulele now is the fact that the nut and saddle and front markers, front position markers, and side position markers are all white. Part of that is just appearance issues, cosmetic, not a big deal. Like really, if the nut and saddle are white, does that really hurt anything? And the answer is no, it doesn't. But the fretboard being white dots on there, can you see them? There you go. And the side markers being white. Quite honestly, if I'm not wearing my glasses and it's not bright enough, I can't see them. It's like not having them at all. So the major change I would ask Aklot to consider with this model, more than anything else, just go all black on those items. Black side position markers, black front markers, black nut and saddle. I know they've wanted to commit to the white materials that they've been providing, but I wish they would change it. So that's, in terms of appearance, is my only gripe of this instrument. As for availability, as I mentioned, you can order these on eBay or Amazon. Here in the United States where I live, they're available for immediate shipping, and that's great. During the pandemic, they disappeared a couple times, but they seem to be back in stock. So in terms of playability, overall, it's a 35 millimeter nut, which for some people is small, but it's what you get a lot of times in sopranos and concerts and even tenors. The spacing, string spacing, is not terribly tight. It comes set up well with action, so that's good. There are no sharp frets whatsoever, and generally it's really playable. I think some people might complain about the smoothness of the instrument, that it actually becomes droppable, almost like a gloss. And the other issue is there are sharp edges on the instrument. I don't mean like cut yourself sharp, but they're Aklot AKC23. They're mahogany solid top and laminate back and sides. Another, I think, really great instrument. Theirs has a special comfort edge all the way around, and I wish they would put that on these instruments too. It doesn't make it any worse, but would only make it better if they're looking for things to improve in the future. So in terms of playability, it may dig into your arm a little bit, but otherwise, it's just as good as playing any other 35 millimeter nut ukulele that's on the market. In terms of sound quality, I think it's very good. It's very much on the bright end, and if you've watched these reviews, you know that my ear tends to favor ukuleles that carry in the bright register, and this one does. I think it will only get clearer with other strings, but it is still resonating as I play that, and that's a concert scale ukulele. So I think the sound is really rather good. It's loud enough, you can play it in a group and you will be heard. It leans more towards the bright side of the spectrum rather than the dark. There is low sustain as well. I'm still hearing the C, and I'm finally stopping hearing the C. But again, I would love to hear this with other strings, and as you know, oftentimes as soon as I'm done with these reviews, I go out and I swap the strings. Again, these are Aquila Super Nile Guts. You even get the little piece of paper here that says that it is Aquila Super Nile Guts. I do want to add that Alex Beds is running his own ukulele channel now, in addition to putting up videos for the Southern Ukulele Store in the UK. But he just recently did a review of a number of Aquila strings. If you want to know more about Aquila strings, watch that. It's definitely eye-opening and informing, and it will tell you a little more about the history of these strings and why so many people use them. One of the other things I like to do is to let you see and hear the harmonic energy as gauged by the app Tonal Energy Tuner. It gives you an idea of what you're hearing with the sustain. So let me play the C chord a few times and you can see what's happening with this instrument. So you can see what I'm hearing. There's lots of sustain. There is a lot of action happening across the spectrum when you play the strings here. Lots of high frequencies, lots of chime, but the high end does disappear pretty quickly compared to the low end. So again, different strings are going to probably help that out. And that brings us to the objective part of the review. It's a concert ukulele with an exactly 15-inch scale length from nut to saddle. There are 18 frets, and there are side and front position markers, as mentioned, but they're white, so they might as well not be there. The body style is a double bout, top bout, lower bout, and the soundboard is bamboo strips glued together, as is the body, as is the neck, as is the headstock. The bridge is a traditional tie bar bridge, and it is a flat fretboard. There's another situation that Aklot could do is if they're looking for areas to improve, that very, very short list on this instrument would be, again, the black items on the instrument, the sharp edge, and here's a third one, is that they might want to consider a radius fretboard. Why not? You're already innovating in so many other ways. The nut and saddle are bone, and it is a compensated saddle, if you can see that, giving the C string and E string a little extra room to vibrate because they're thicker strings. The finish is a satin finish. The overall length is 24.25 inches, and it weighs 1 pound, 2.5 ounces. Interestingly, it's lighter than you would think it is. The tenor always felt heavier than it really was, and the same is true with this one. I'm not sure why. It's not much heavier than a traditional ukulele, but in your mindset, you think of it as being more substantial. Maybe it has something to do with the appearance of bamboo or the fact we all have cutting boards made of bamboo, something like that. The tuner type are cool rear-facing pegs. They work really nice. Aklot is very proud of their tuning pegs. They advertise them heavily. The action at the first fret is lower than 0.5 millimeters. It's wonderful. The action at the 12th fret is 2.5 millimeters. So when it comes to setup without any sharp fret ends, every Aklot I've tried, and I'm up to like number 6 now, every one of them has been set up perfectly. So again, I have no problem recommending one of these for a beginning player because they sound great, but also that setup is spot on. The nut width is 34.84 millimeters, so basically 35 millimeters. And then I also check the space between the strings at the first fret. It's 8.5 millimeters between the strings at the first fret, and it is 28.23 G to A. Pretty average for a 35 millimeter nut. The depth of the instrument at the third fret is 21.43 millimeters, and I measure from the bottom of the neck to the top of the strings. Just to give you an idea what you're thinking of, and I just chose the third fret arbitrarily to measure them all comparatively. So it's actually a little bit on the thinner side of some, but pretty again average for a 35 millimeter import ukulele. So let's summarize the instrument. Last year, Aklot came out with their tenor bamboo ukulele. It was widely reviewed. They sent it to a number of people to review. I bought one and had a chance to review it and liked it a lot and left wondering when would a concert be available. Well, here it is. That tenor had a 4.0 ukulele rating from me on this channel. With other strings, that ukulele is even better, and I think even with some time to mature as an instrument, it's even better. So I'm excited about this one. Aklot did listen to some feedback. They took away the etching on the soundboard, and I'm hoping that they're open to some of the other ideas that I've mentioned in this video. I know we sound weird complaining about it, but when you can't see the fretboard side markers or front markers, that is an issue. Additionally, it would just look so nice if everything was just black and gold and then that bamboo color. It would look so good. There's no reason for any of the white on there, and I don't think that it would impact sound. And I'm sure you could find a comparative material that you could use that would allow that to happen. Now, otherwise, it's a 35 millimeter nut. You could increase that for a future model. You could look at a radius fretboard in a future model. You could look at making that comfort edge on these as well as they do on those really nice mahogany instruments that they make. So there's a lot that they can do to still fix it, but it's still an incredible value. It's fun to play, and I'm looking forward to it. Changing the strings on here and just enjoying this instrument in the years to come. So it's definitely recommended. And if Aklot could adjust some more of those things, they would have like this ideal sub $100 ukulele on their hands. I mean, because you also, not only do you get the great ukulele, but you get the really good gig bag, you get the strap and the tuner that you really need. It's really everything you need to get going with a good experience. So they're doing so much right. With all that in mind, last year the tenor got a 4.0 rating. This year the concert gets a 4.5 rating, and I would guess that the modern version of the tenor would also be the same. So it's really good, folks. This is a really good instrument. It's a really good buy, highly recommended, and you can't go wrong with one of these. And they're also so cool with that bamboo print. Just fun to look at, fun to play, and fun to listen to. All right. Thank you so much for joining us here for this review of the Aklot Concert Bamboo Ukulele. I hope you're having a great day, and I will be back soon with some more uke stuff for you.